Clarence Brandley was a janitor at Conroe High School in East Texas. On the 23rd of August, 1980, during a volleyball tournament, 16-year-old Cheryl Dee Fergeson disappeared after leaving her teammates to find a restroom. Clarence and another janitor later found her naked body in the school's loft. She'd been raped and strangled to death. While being questioned by police, an investigator announced that one of them would hang for the murder. He then said to Clarence, "Since you're the nigger, you're elected." In court, Clarence twice faced an all-white jury in a town where Ku Klux Klan meetings were still commonplace. He was sentenced to death and came within 5 days of being executed when private investigators proved that the local authorities had destroyed a large amount of evidence that pointed toward his innocence. When granting him a new trial, the judge declared that no case has presented a more shocking scenario of the effects of racial prejudice, perjured testimony, and witness intimidation. Clarence was released from death row in January 1990.
Conroe in the 70s there was a lot of racism. Most people who have been in this town know that the first person they look for when it's a white woman been murdered, they're gonna get a black man quick. I was a high school custodian. School wasn't in, it was summertime. They were having a volleyball tournament. Just when we were getting ready to quit for that day, one of the young ladies came up and they started asking, have we seen a Cheryl Fergeson? And we hadn't, and so we started going through floor to floor in the school trying to see if we could find her. Icky Peace found her, she was in the loft. And he screamed out to me and I ran him to see what was going on. It was dim up there, you couldn't hardly see it, but you can tell it was a body there. And so I went downstairs and got the police, and the police came back up. They tried to make me look like I was the one that was guilty. I was taken to Houston and given a polygraph test by an examiner who had 16 years experience. He told the officer who had transported me there that I had nothing to do with this crime. But nevertheless, they arrested me that following Friday. And normally when you're arrested, they take you under the garage, but they walked me across the street where all the media was taking pictures. It was almost like it was a show. I was taken into an interrogation room where it lasted about 5 hours. They were trying to make me say I committed the crime, but I kept denying and said, man, I have nothing to do with this. Then they booked me into the jail. I felt like all hell had broke loose because I knew I had nothing to do with the crime. I cooperated fully, and I'm being used as a scapegoat. They started manipulating the evidence from the beginning. They had people come forward and testify and lie. They threw away the semen sample, threw away the blood sample. And why would you throw that away in a rape murder case? They did all of that because they didn't have no evidence against me. My trial was all white. When you said being judged by your peers, all white jurors not my peers. They struck all the black jurors that was qualified. They didn't want no blacks on the jury. I was convicted. Judge, he just told me I was guilty and he hoped I'd be at peace and he hoped that God would bless me. That's all he said. Then he said the execution date. They cut off all your hair, they shave your head, everything. They spray you like an animal, they give you a number, then they transport you out to death row. It's like going into hell. I always believed that one day somebody, somewhere, was gonna look at the evidence and realize that I had nothing to do with the crime. I was on death row for approximately about 5 years, going on 6 years, before people started coming forward and telling the truth. And it took another 2 years before I was finally released. As of today, I have never received any compensation. And matter of fact, when I first came home, they had me charged with $56,000 back child support. And still to this day, They still want me to pay back child support, and hopefully one day I will receive compensation. I'm hopeful for that. There's a lot of racism still alive and well today. Skin color, nationality, minority, it still plays a part. And it all depends on what you're accused of and who you're accused of doing it to. Eventually, I think that's going to change, but it hasn't changed so far.